Okay, here we are again. Today's gonna be quick. Let's see. So today is Friday, December 17th, 11:46 p.m., and this is an experiment, episode 34. Episode 34. Cool. Real quick. I just I was amazed. I went in. I you know I didn't. I When I got my new webcam, I thought that I was really stepping up in quality from the built-in iMac, and it was, but this was the step up. This was the step up from the built-in, and then this is when I actually turned on my DSLR camera, my Sony Alpha, and I don't know how I couldn't make it work up until now, but somehow I was able to make it finally work. And so I can use it with Ecamm. I can't use it with Zoom though. That's the thing. I haven't figured out how to use this setup with Zoom. That doesn't matter though. So look, here's the thing. I made money today. Well, it was what was really interesting is I sold Kyle, what a great bro. I sold him on a phone call to put a plan together to get him to like start making some money and get him on a path to getting his life together, even though he can't afford to do full on coaching or anything like that with me. I'm okay with that because he seems like a good dude and he wants to win in life. But he seems like a little bit lost, and that's okay. Because the first step to getting found is to admit when you're lost. So there's that. But for some reason, I don't quite know what it was, but there was a part of me that was like, what if he backs out? And I went to bed last night not even checking. Not that I assumed that he didn't pay. I didn't even think about whether or not he did pay. Which is because he was like, "Yeah, I can take care of it within the next couple hours." I was like, "Okay, cool," and that was at like 5 o'clock or something like that, close to 5 o'clock. And when I went and checked my email this morning, sure as shit, there was an email that came through at like 8:30 last night saying that he'd paid his invoice. So I followed. I was like, "Okay, dude, let's set up this call." And there's just something interesting about that for me because it was like, I don't know if I was expecting him to. I think there was a part of me that was like, is he gonna drop? Is this gonna fall through? I remember having that thought more than a couple times. Like, is he gonna not? Is he gonna not follow through? Which if he didn't, that would have been fine. I think. But that did cross my mind. But then I stopped thinking about it. I didn't default to that. I was like, well, I guess it's a possibility. But I also didn't check to be like, has he paid yet? Has he paid yet? When's he going to pay? I woke up and sure enough, he'd paid the night before, which was interesting. Then partway through the day, I went to the gym again today, 3 days in a row. Not going to go tomorrow. I'm going to take the day off. That's okay. My body has worked hard up until this point. Um, I've been doing really well with keeping on top of my shit. And I got a message from someone, and it was someone that I'm just gonna call her Dr. M, Dr. MS. I don't want to give away identities in case they're not cool with it. And Dr. MS was basically sent me a message that said I need more of David in my life, or maybe that was yesterday. It was yesterday when she said that. We got on a call and I helped her out with a whole bunch of stuff today, and and she even said I'll compensate you for my time. We were on the call for close to 3 hours. It had to have been. We got through a lot of stuff, but really and at the end of the call, I was like, yeah, I can send you an invoice or whatever, and she said, I'll compensate you for your time. I was like, great, okay, cool. And I was like, so what's fair? What do you think's fair? Because I knew that she was in a tough financial spot too. So, I was and for me personally, I have a $260. I hear a gunshot. Like a $260 outstanding balance with my bookkeeping company, software company, or whatever. That's been like past due for a hot minute, and so I was basically like, for me, I was like, typically for a 3-hour call like this, I'd be charging something like $750, $800. How does $250 sound for you? She's like, sounds good, cool. So I sent out the invoice for $250, but I didn't send out an invoice for. I didn't just send out an invoice for $250. I sent out an invoice for 3 hours of consulting at $250 an hour, and I gave her a $500 discount. I gave her a $500 discount. Because for me, it's like, this is what I'm worth. I'm going to cut you a special deal because I like you. I'm not billing you $250 for 3 hours. It's $250 an hour for 3 hours, but I'm giving you a discount because I like you. And I know you're in a tight spot. And I'm going to do more of that. I should have done that with Kyle now that I think about it. They'll see me like, yeah. And also it establishes like, this is normally what I do, but I'm, celebrating your wanting to do better things with your life. Anyway. So I got myself together and I did that. And I put this script together for advertising. These ads that I'm running with the real T Money, T Wallace. I'm gonna run ads and that stuff. So he put together his stuff. Didn't seem to think it was working as well. So he was like, let's put together a video and put up a script or something. I was like, give me a framework. Anyway, and so I was kind of, I don't even know where the idea came from, but I was like, I wrote this out and I'm just gonna share it for myself and the imaginary future audience that may be watching this, because this was me for a long time. That like I'm basically talking to myself with this script. Does this sound familiar? The new year is approaching and you want to get your body in shape or learn how to cook or start a podcast. But every other year before this, when you decided you were going to do a whole bunch of things, you ended up not doing any of them. You said, I'll start tomorrow, and tomorrow turned into next week, and next week turned into 6 months. And before you realized it, December came around and you didn't accomplish anything. Not here to lecture though, but this habit of doing nothing continued for years on end, and for some reason you think 2022 is going to be different. You're going to prove yourself to family and friends, and you're actually going to follow through with all the things you said you're going to do, even though you haven't changed anything. It's not entirely your fault though. You've been told all your life to break your bad habits and build good habits, but no one has taught you how to do that when willpower alone isn't enough. If you want to know how to destroy all the hard-to-break habits that have been holding you back for years so that you can finally shine bright for everyone to see, follow the link below and let's chat. Solid. But that was me. That was me. That was me for a long time. This year is going to be my year. Woo! And then it never was because nothing changed. Oh, yeah? Nothing changed, and so it was no surprise. So it was no surprise. And to a certain degree, this kind of still is me, but for a different reason. I've like been doing the things that I say I'm gonna do, and part of it is, are you doing it and sticking with it or not? And there's a couple things. Um, I wanted to learn how to do staff spinning this year. That's one of the things that I wanted to get into. You have basically having a long stick and spinning it around and doing fun stuff with that. It's good exercise. And using an excuse to be out. I mean, it's just, and it's fun. It makes you feel like a kid, and it's cool. And I did it for a while, and I kind of stopped, maybe because it lost its sparkle or whatever. But the truth is, you can only do so many things, and not the question, but it's like, you really have to decide about what stuff carries the most importance for you to want to focus on, for you to give relevance. Because on the one hand, I could say, I'm not disciplined enough to stick with staff spinning, when the truth is, it's not a matter of discipline. It's just not the most important thing to me. And there's nothing wrong with that. I wanted to learn how to play piano this year. I've done that. I mean, but that's one of those things. It's like I started learning how to play piano, and I still play, and have I fallen off of my learning path and progressing in skill? Yes. I kind of stagnated and just having fun, learning a couple songs and playing them over and over again so that I can't play them wrong. But I'm still playing piano, and that's, important to me. I stuck with my business all fucking year, the whole year. I didn't quit. That you could say that I took a break for a little bit, maybe like after I kind of just burned out and stuff. But I never threw in the towel because I'm still like enrolling people. Maybe it's not for thousands of dollars, but I mean, technically, I acquired 2 new clients this week. May not be high ticket clients, they may not be long term clients, but I acquired 2 new clients this week. So I never stopped. I never gave up. I stuck with it, even though I was like facing adversity the entire time. And so, did I want to make $100,000 this year? Yes. But because that happened, did I fail in business? No. Only way you fail in business is you give up. Do you want to be an entrepreneur? Yes. Okay. You know how you win at being an entrepreneur? You start being an entrepreneur and you don't fucking give up. And even if you lose at being an entrepreneur, you say, I want to be an entrepreneur. Then you start doing it. You realize, fuck, I'm not cut out for this shit. That's okay too. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no shame in it. I mean, hell, I'm looking at a whole bunch of other things. And then there's the, being a part-time versus a full-time entrepreneur and all that. I said, and you know what? There's no shame in being a part-time entrepreneur for a while either, too. It's an ego thing. Don't let the ego get in the way. I wanted to get certified to solo skydive this year. That didn't happen, but I went skydiving for the first time. It's a step in the right direction. I went skydiving for the first time this year. It's fucking awesome. I can't wait to go skydiving next year and hopefully get solo certified. One of these days it's going to happen. One of these days. And I did a lot of the stuff that I said I was going to do. I did most of the stuff that I said I was going to do. Trying to think about some of the things that I said I was going to do that I didn't. Well, I said I was going to start a YouTube channel. And I did. I kind of slowed, not just slowed. I kind of like didn't do anything with it. But I'm ending the year strong, right? I've posted a couple videos last week. I got some other ideas for ones that I'm going to put together and throw up next week. The podcast, said I was going to do that, started doing that, interviewed a whole bunch of people. And as I started getting through, and in the middle of all of that was when the cult shit started happening. Because I started working on that in the middle of the cult thing and the whole brand identity type of thing that I'd created while in the middle of that. And it wasn't the right podcast. It wasn't the right one. It wasn't the right one. And so I had to back off of that. And that's okay. And I feel kind of bad because it's like I wasted the time of the people that I brought on to do it. I don't know what I'm going to do with that stuff yet, if I'm going to do anything. But I started it. And then what I decided was that one is I'd committed myself to too many things that didn't matter. I said I was going to write a book. And I've taken some time away from it and I want to get back to it. It's time to get back to it. It's time to get back to writing that book and finishing it. But what I kind of realized too is I really had to get myself centered to do that. And really like be in the right spot. And I'm getting back to that spot. But I still have 20,000 words written. Did I finish the book? Not yet. I started the book though, and I'm 20,000 words into it. Like that's a significant, that's 3 chapters. 3 chapters of a book that are done. So, am I doing all of the stuff that I said I was going to do? Absolutely. Absolutely. Did I make the money goals? No. But that's okay. I may not have made $100,000, but I made a little over $35,000. And that's not for nothing. It's not for nothing. You know? So for me, it's like as I'm reflecting on this year and going into the next year and all the stuff that I want to do and all the stuff that I've done, and I go back to that script that I wrote, that habit of doing nothing, and yet you think this year's going to be different when nothing has changed. That's why every year I do a little bit more and I get a little bit better, is because I started changing. I started changing. When you change yourself, you change the world. When you change yourself, you change the world. Was that really loud? I hope not. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I'm doing really well. You know, I don't think I give myself enough credit for all the shit that I've done this year. Because I've done a lot. I got I was abandoned. I was let down. I was overpromised and underdelivered. I went broke. I'm still kind of broke. I got sucked into a cult. I extracted myself from a cult. I pulled someone else out of a cult, which also ended up pulling another person out of the cult. And then I had to deprogram myself and her from the cult. And then all amongst all of that, also trying to enroll clients, run a business, while being like, I and now I'm back to square one. Not square one. It's not really that's not really what it is. I'm back to baseline. My whole world got turned upside down. Whole world got turned upside down, and I found my way back to baseline. All by myself. All by myself. But I did get some help along the way. I mean, to say it was all by myself, that's not entirely accurate. I mean, I got God. God is on my side. That's for sure. God is on my side. And there were some key conversations with some key people that really, really, helped out too. But I had to do a lot of it by myself. With the bipolar disorder diagnosis. That's why I'm special. To go through all of that with a diagnosed mental illness and to come out as sane as I am, to be able to do what I've been doing, it is no small accomplishment. This is no small feat. I was telling the Doctor MS, because we were talking about some other stuff aside from just her business, but this year broke me. Not just my wallet, but it broke me. I broke this year. Like, it was, for me, it was almost a, how hard can I push David before he breaks? Not if he break, not push him to see if he breaks. See how hard I can push David until he breaks, and then after he breaks, is he going to be able to pull himself together? I guess the answer to that question is yes. He can break and pull himself together. I've done it before. And I can do it again. I'm resilient. You break me, and I'll put myself back together. And it gets easier and easier every time. But I broke. I broke. This year broke me. There's nothing wrong with that. But I feel like all of this, again, is just a testament to how strong of a person I am, but a mental illness, a diagnosis of a behavior disorder, mood disorder, it doesn't have to be a limitation. It doesn't have to be forever. It doesn't have to be something that haunts you until the day that you die. It's not something that has to rule you. It's something that you can learn to overcome. To the point where you don't even acknowledge it as being a thing anymore. You know, I can't help but wonder if I went to a psychiatrist right now and I asked them to do an evaluation of me, a psych eval. Do a psychiatric diagnostic evaluation. Tell me if you see any sort of disorder in me. I wonder what they would come up with. Probably nothing. They'd be like, you seem totally normal. It's true. Because that's where I've gotten to. But it's not without work. Like, this year was like a taste of if I stopped taking, if I wasn't on the one medication that I take, if I wasn't on that this year, if I didn't have my cognitive health supplements, without those two things, I don't know if it would have turned out the same way. And even still, if I had all that stuff, but I was drinking again, I don't want to think about what that would have looked like. I'm having urges to smoke cigarettes again for some reason. I don't know why. It's not a good idea, and I know it's gonna pass. But it's interesting anytime it comes up where it's like, oh, maybe I can start smoking. Like for no good reason either. There's no good reason why I'd be like, I kind of want to have a cigarette. Why? I don't know. It makes me feel cool. Why? I mean, that's stupid. It's dumb. But there is something seductive about cigarettes. I don't know what it is. I mean, I don't know what's sexy about blatant disregard for your own health and well-being, but apparently there's something seductive and sexy about that. Okay, you know what? I'm done. It's time to go to bed. I gotta wake up and go to work in the morning. Today is Saturday, December 18th, 12:15 a.m. Oh, past the midnight marker. Oh, it is past my bedtime. Damn, peace out, Girl Scout. This is an experiment, episode 34. Cha-ching.